Hi, happy day, happy life, happy journey. My name is John Jacob Mubarak. I am one of the directors here at Rythmia and an Agape licensed spiritual practitioner. Thank you for coming and joining us for Walking the Path. Today, our topic is the surrender or Project Surrender. Oops, got it mixed up. Today, our topic is Project Surrender. And it came out of a conversation that we were having here at Rythmia during the rainy season. So let me just paint the picture for you. It's the rains start in May. So May is the month that the rains begin, and it rains, regularly between now and November. And it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. Beautiful. It's sunny in the day, and then in the afternoon it gets rain clouds, or rainy in the morning and sunny in the afternoon. It's just gorgeous. So we were having one of those torrential downpours, that was so loud you could barely hear yourself talk because the rain was hitting the roof so loud. And talking about the book, The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer. And he's the author of The Untethered Soul. And then, in addition to that book, the movie The Yes Man came up with Jim Carrey. So, hey, everybody, I just noticed we got people coming in. Hey, hi, great to see you all. So, Jim Carrey's movie The Yes Man, Michael Singer's book, The Surrender Experiment, both point to the same thing that we're talking about today. So I want to give you a really brief summary so you can see what we are wanting to talk about. So the book also really was a great read. I loved it. I love The Untethered Soul, but I really love this Surrender Experiment. And the phrase that kept coming up for me was, Michael Singer kept saying, I allowed life to lead me. I didn't want to go in that direction, but life was leading me in that direction, and I allowed life to lead me. And I thought, what a great, really resonated with me. Because I don't know about you, but 5-year plans and pros and cons lists of what I should do never really served me. If 5 years ago you would have said, John, you're going to be working at an ayahuasca retreat center and living in Costa Rica, that wasn't even on my radar. I couldn't have even put that into a plan. I had no idea. So frequently, spirit is so much bigger than our thoughts, our thinking, and we need to keep ourselves open to possibilities that exist outside of our current perspective. And our current perspective is predominantly predicated on the past. It's predicated on what we know, and even what we know we don't know. Like, that old saying, I know how to speak English. I know I don't know how to speak Russian. I also know I'm I can't even think. Engineering, let's just go with engineering. I also know that I'm not an engineer. I know that engineering exists, but that's not in my wheelhouse. But there are a whole realm of things that I don't know. I don't even know I don't know them. So those are the things that we want to make ourselves available to. Those are the things that are coming from the realm of infinite possibility, and even simply just outside of our own purview. Okay, so the Surrender Experiment. This guy, it's his life story. He was graduating from university with his PhD in economics, and he didn't want to take the test. There was some written exam that he had to take. If I remember, it's been a while since I read the book, but there was some exam that he had to take, and he did not want to study. He just wanted to meditate. He had this awakening, and he was like, I don't even want to finish my PhD. I just want to go meditate. And some people talked to him and said, hey, you gotta finish this. You're so close. And he said, well, I'll just look at the book. One day, the day before the exam, he looks randomly at 3 pages. Goes in to take the exam the next day. Those were the 3 questions that were on the exam. He gets a job down in Florida teaching. He didn't want to teach. Goes to school, goes to teach class, without his shirt on, just like completely doesn't care, wants to be meditating. He built a little meditation hut out on this piece of land and he just drives in to teach class, hates it. Meets some important people. Then one day he's coming home and sees a cop car, a sheriff's car in front of his shack, his hut. And he's thinking, oh no, I didn't get permits, I didn't get licensing or pay any fees or dues or anything. And I probably built on this land that wasn't mine. So he was expecting the cop to take him out. And the guy said, did you build this house? And he goes, yeah, I built it. He said, oh, we love it. My wife and I would like you to build us one. And out of that came this company called Built with Love, which was a construction company. Not in his purview, not in anything that he had thought about doing. And this company grows. He starts to build a really vibrant, thriving company. And people moved in on the property, just like brought their trailers. He didn't want them there. He didn't say anything. They end up being lifelong partners, associates, etc. Life goes on with him like this until one day he walks into a Radio Shack and sees a Commodore 64 computer and decides he's going to try programming, programs the thing. And a friend of his asked if he could help him develop a medical billing software for his medical office. He ends up parlaying that into one of the largest data corporations in the nation at the time, and I think it ended up becoming WebMD. All of that to say that at each point of those stories, and there was so much more that happened, and I'm probably doing a bad job of retelling it, but at each point in the story, he didn't want to do something and life led him in a certain direction. And look, for example, the teacher, one of the students that he taught ended up being either the president or the loan officer at the bank where he had to go get a loan, right? So every point when he didn't want to do something, but he went ahead, life is leading me this way, I'm going to follow, life unfolded in more fullness because the possibilities that exist are outside of what we know and what we can even think about. So when we are in a receptive state and allow life to lead us and follow that, we're either pulled, Reverend Michael says this so beautifully, we're either pulled by a vision or pushed by pain. When we're pushed by pain, life is, showing us that this is not a comfortable position and we need to change. We need to progress. When we're pulled by a vision, we catch something and we're being led, right? Life is leading us. This is the state of surrender. Jim Carrey's movie, The Yes Man, was another great example of it. He had to say yes to everything, right? And it led him into some crazy places. But the life that he led was unmatched to what he was living before, the life he led before. So when we allow life to lead us, when we accept the opportunities that life brings to us and listen carefully, we're led by a divine intelligence. So this is what surrender is. Surrender, also Reverend Michael spoke over the last few weeks in his Sunday talks about surrender not being a white flag. This is not like I give up, I give in, right? I throw my hands up. That's a different kind of surrender. This surrender is willingness to allow something to move us. I won't be moved. I won't move until I'm moved. I won't move until I'm moved. I won't make a choice until I feel in my bones that this is resonant with me, not in my head. That's where the 5-year projects, 5-year goal lists, and those are great. I'm just saying we've got to leave them open-ended so that we can allow something to emerge. And that's also where the pros and cons list, what should I do? Should I do this or should I do that? Well, here are all the pros, here are all the cons. Those never float for me. They just fall flat, they just sink. Because I can argue it 6 ways to Tuesday on either side, and so can you. So there's an intelligence that we can rely on that's here right now, right within us right now. It's beating our hearts, it's breathing our lungs, it's digesting our food, it's growing our hair and nails and our beards, and it is that energy force, that life force within us that is everywhere present in the vibrant roots and leaves of the plants and trees, in the flight of the birds, in the song of the sun, in the moon, in the ocean. It is everywhere. Present, same energy, one energy, transferred and conveyed into various forms. That energy is an intelligence. That intelligence is a perfection. That perfection is a presence that's existing right here, right now. Right within you. Otherwise, you and I could not be. The perfection exists within us. The wisdom exists within us, whether we feel it or not. Because the thinking about that, I don't really think I'm feeling connected. It happens. And that's when we turn to our truth and say, I'm always connected. No matter what the appearances are, I know that I can't be separate from the infinite intelligence that created me because it's in me. I'm created from it, right? The part contains all the qualities of the whole. So this part, you as a part, me as a part, we contain all the qualities of the whole. I want to stop and look at some comments here. Let's see. All right. So there's a lot of questions about opening up in July or August. We are still waiting to hear from the Ministry of Health. So there's some tentative, it could go either way, and we are just waiting to hear when they're going to open the borders. And we'll be letting everybody know as soon as we have a firm date from the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Costa Rica and the Ministry of Tourism. Oh, thanks, Julie. I'm doing a good job telling the story. I'm glad. Let's see. There's a, what if we surrender and listen and find the inspiration that leads us to grow and learn, but our families don't get it? Yeah. Thank you, Julie. So, we see it all the time in every aspect. Let me give you an example of my family. We were raised Catholic, and very traditional Catholic, and I split off from the Catholic Church and went in, followed a more mystical and metaphysical path. My sister went off from the Catholic Church and followed a fundamentalist evangelical path. And I'm so grateful that we're a close family, because I can see so often that while we both love our version of God, right? We don't agree with the other one's version. No matter how open I really am, like underneath it's like, yeah, I don't think that. I think that. But that's just me. Now, how do I, Julie, with my sister, begin to, or not begin to, keep the love and the communication that we've always had? Because she loves me and I love her. So one is the real recognition, the real being honest with ourselves of, am I trying to persuade or cajole? Do I really love them for everything they are and everything they're not? It's all about the self-love and the love that we bring to the situation. And it's a constant chore because we're battling with, our good and dutiful sense of being offended by something they said or being hurt, right? And yet, we have to become more loving in our hearts. So that we, even when it gets right and justified, we must become more loving in our hearts. And that is the way that we work with family and friends. Now, some people will fall away. It is part of the process of growth. Because as you rise in your own fulfillment, not saying that your fulfillment is better than what they're doing, it's just you resonate in this way, and you're going to vibrate at a certain frequency, and they're going to vibrate at a certain frequency, and if those things aren't resonant with each other, the law of physics would have those things resonate away from each other. So there will be some falling away. Whenever you're doing something amazing, somebody's going to point at you and complain or badmouth you, right? That's almost a sign that you're doing the right thing. But above all of it is love. All of it is love. We've got the human thing of going back and forth with our emotions and with our righteousness and justified offensiveness, and yet we return to love. We become more loving in our hearts. So I was thinking about my sister. I was just talking to a friend about this last night. It's like, you know what? I'm not going to use my language, right? When we pray as a metaphysician, we're saying Mother, Father, God, and Spirit, and it's an intelligence, it's a universal presence. It's right. She's got God is a person in the sky. His name is Jesus, and he once was a 6.5-pound baby, and he came to this planet. Now I love Jesus. Oh my God. The metaphysical teachings of this man, his vibrational frequency, he's a teacher. He's our master teacher. And yet the religiosity of Christianity doesn't resonate with them. Beautiful people in all areas, right? And yet we can get caught up in the nitty-gritty of it. So I thought, I know my language is offensive to her because she goes, no, God is not a presence. God is in the sky. Not in the sky. God is a person, is what she really believes. And so I'm going to speak in her language the next time we're together. I'm going to really try to, speak in the language of her vernacular. And it doesn't mean that I'm capitulating, but it means that I'm willing to meet her where she's at. Not even from I have to come down and meet her where she's at. No, she has a beautiful faith. She has a vibrant community that she's a part of. Wonderful people that are part of her community that support her and that she supports, and she does her Bible studies, and she's, deeply, deeply, deeply involved in the church, and it's beautiful, and it works for her. She's so happy. She's so fulfilled. So why don't I meet her where she's at? And Julie, I guess I'd say that to you. So let's look and see if there's any other questions. I can see. Hi, everybody. Looking great. Great to see you. So that's really the idea, is the surrender experiment, the surrender project. And how can we surrender in life to allow life to lead us? Let's see. We have to play in other people's sandboxes. Yes. Great, Rachel. We do. And play nice. Because I could go in that sandbox and mess it all up. But I'm going to play nice. So, surrender. Back on track. How do we surrender? It's a constant act. It's a constant process. Just like all of our spiritual practices. Just like what we feed ourselves, what we feed our mind, who we surround ourselves with. We need that core group of people that support us, and we need to go out in the world. We need to be in the world and not of it. Meister Eckhart was a 15th century Dominican friar who famously said, if you know no other prayer, thank you is all you need, which is beautiful. He taught his friars, this is the time of the Spanish Inquisition, he taught them very clearly that they must be strong and disciplined in their spiritual path, and yet working out in the community with the people. It's not about being sequestered or cloistered. It is about taking the richness of the cloister, the high vibrational frequency of that devotion, and bringing it everywhere we go. When we travel with that frequency, guess what meets us? That other frequency. What we are seeking is seeking us. And in that way, we begin to allow life to pull us by a vision, to lead us. What's next? I'll simply say, I have the wonderful opportunity to be here at Rythmia. Here's an example of that. How do we discern? How do we not force something? Because of the opportunity that this lockdown has offered all of us. There's negatives and positives, but one of the benefits has been this opportunity to be here at Rythmia. And I can get back to the United States. And I need to get back at some point, but I just don't know when to go. And I was really struggling. Well, do I go now? And every day I'd be like, okay, I got to make up my mind. I got to buy this ticket. What am I going to do? Am I going to go back? Am I going to stay? Back and stay. And finally I said, well, if I don't know what to do, I'm not going to do anything until I'm moved. I'm not going to do anything until I am feeling that presence. Feeling that this is, because if I'm not feeling like this isn't wrong for me right now, then I'm here. So that's one example of how we begin to be patient, allow things to settle. We'll see more clearly and understand the next step. Thank you all so much. Wow, thank you for your beautiful comments. I'm so overwhelmed by the opportunity that I get to do this. I get to do this and to communicate with you in this really special way. So thank you very, very much for joining us. I'm so grateful. And I wish you a beautiful rest of your day, knowing that you are walking in the sunshine of infinite wisdom on the path of endless unfoldment. I love you, I'm grateful for you, and I will see you Saturday. We're going to do I Am the Miracle this Saturday, and we'll see you then, Saturday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. And Kim Terranova's tomorrow, I believe, at 3 p.m. Pacific time. All right, peace and blessings.